Good morning, everybody. It's Maria. Today, I want to touch on the third horseman of the apocalypse. I introduced you to that concept in yesterday's video about contempt. I started off with the first horseman, which is called stonewalling, and these come out of the work of marriage researcher John Gottman. Um, he called them this, and I think it's actually kind of appropriate that I'm bringing you this during the COVID crisis, because a lot of people talk about it as being an apocalyptic kind of time. Basically, the world as we know it has changed. And so I started this little series about using these four horsemen because I think that right now relationships are in a very stressful place. And so I hope you can indulge me that that's where I start with mental wellness. I want people to really be able to have some tools and some language that they can use as they go forward. Maybe now is the time that people are reevaluating their relationships with the people they're with. Perhaps this opportunity to be in close quarters has given everyone a moment to pause and reflect on whether or not they need to do something to change either their lives, either they need to leave a relationship or they need to reinvigorate a relationship. So a lot of times in my work with couples, I took a backwards route in that I almost wanted to shake up or break up the couple first, like truly let there be a break. Because, not why, because I'm bitter and I'm single and I don't want anyone to be with anyone, no. But because I realize that sometimes you can't fix something unless you cleanly break it first and then mend it. Sometimes we're walking around with a limp because something wasn't broken right, and it and we're staying and we're continuing and we're perpetuating and we're continuing all these bad habits in relationship, and we just don't have the courage to either fix it or leave it. you know um, Instead we almost sort of like don't fix it and forget it, and you stay there, and that's not healthy for anybody. um, and today I want to almost bring a little bit of special attention to the role of kids in a family too, because today's horseman that we're going to talk about is criticism. I feel like criticism is something that can be handled fairly well, and I say fairly well lightly, loosely, because it can end up in a blow up, it can end up in hurt feelings, it can end up in um, continued damage for an adult, adult to adult criticism. But I'd like to draw very special attention right now to all the parents out there, because criticism does a special kind of damage to children, and so I would like to talk a little bit about its effects. We would not, or at least I don't think, we would look at a small child, a really small child that we know that is learning to walk, learning to discover the world around them, and be highly critical of their mistakes. No, what do? We laugh at them, we film them, we put them on Insta. We think it's cute, we laugh, it's sweet. We understand that that person is navigating the world. But we have far less patience as that child gets a little bit older. And that's when I think we should have far more. Because now that child is really cognizant and really aware of who you are in their life. They're looking to you. And what I've seen over and over again that's really broken my heart, truly, because I almost could see all of my own issues and stuff come up in other children as I was watching this process unfold. And the thing that really got me was that they were people that I admired, or people that I liked, or people that I thought were great. Not that I don't think anyone's great because they criticize. No, but I was watching like really good people with really good intentions do some pretty say some pretty damaging things to their kids, or a kid, or kids in general. And I thought, oh my god, that's when it happens, that's how it happens, that's what we do. So I want to just bring special attention, especially now, because we're all on top of each other right now, and there's not a whole lot of space. There's not that buffer of, oh, they're going to school for a little while, or they're going to be out, or they have activities. We're all right there up in each other's faces. And that can pose some challenges, I think. So I'd like you guys to take this opportunity to think about, how critical are you of the people around you, and why? You know, what is criticism? Let's see. Come up with some examples of criticism or being critical. And let me just caveat, full disclosure, I'm a Virgo. If you ascribe to astrology, Virgos are the most critical of all the signs. We criticize people, and I've certainly been absolutely guilty of that. Um, but we're mostly critical of ourselves. That's why, like, we're hardest on ourselves. I promise you that. But I'll never forget this time in grad school. And if you're watching the person that I did this with, I'm sorry. I really am still sorry about that. We had an opportunity to have a two-way mirror, and we would do like a fake mock therapy session, and we were being filmed and recorded. And my colleague was a male, and I didn't realize how critical I was of men, like, in general. And I the feedback I got from that session was, "Wow, Maria, guilt trip much?" And I was like, what do you mean?" And they're like, "Whoa, you were really harsh, you were really critical, and as a therapist, you're really not supposed to be that way." And I was taken aback. I had to watch that video myself and really look for it, and I was really embarrassed, because I just thought it was a normal thing to do. Like, I'm here to help you, and I'm supposed to tell you how to do it right. But what I didn't take into account was that I'm not the authority on what's right. In fact, few of us are. In fact, probably none of us are, individually. Our laws and our rules show up because most of us agree that certain behaviors are problematic, and we've created such an individual lifestyle that we need laws to keep order. I don't know who said this, or which researcher developed this, or found this idea, or first pronounced this idea, so please forgive me on that. I didn't do good research on this one this morning, but I know it is a researcher who found this phenomenon, I guess. And what he found was that in tribes, in close-knit tribes, there didn't need to be any systemic law system, because you were too close for comfort to need them. If you stole from someone, everyone knew you stole from them, and everyone knew who did it, because you were walking around with the thing you stole that belonged to, tribesman A, and you're tribesman B, and you have tribesman A thing that they just complained about being missing. You're the guilty party, so there was no real law needed. So who really decides what's right? It really needs to be a collective effort. And in a family, I'm not worried about adult to adult criticism, because I think an adult can defend themselves fairly well, because there's that equality of power or stature. But when we're talking about children and adults, we're talking about a power imbalance. And even with adults, I mean, you gotta look at the power balance. Who's in authority? Maybe it's a colleague. Maybe you're a boss. Maybe you have more authority over someone, and you think that you have a right to be a little bit harsher. And I encourage you to say, is there a better way you can say what you need to say? And again, as I did with the other two videos, I'm always going to bring it back to you. What issue are you taking with the way someone's doing something? What is it that you feel you absolutely need to make commentary on that person's effort? Do you consistently complain about the way food tastes, but you're never the one making it? Are you consistently having commentary or something to say about the way someone cleans, or the way someone dresses, or the way someone looks, or the way someone speaks, or the things they say, or the things they like, or the things they participate in? Why do you feel you have a say-so? We each have free will, and whether you're religious or not, I think that is a universal kind of law, is that we each have the ability and the not even a right, it's just the way it works. I mean, we all have free will. Like, we're going to do what we agree to do. And if you want to bring religion into it, which I largely don't, but if you wanted to say, what is God's will? I always say, well, God's will is whatever's happening at the moment. Because God's will is the divinity in every person meeting up and agreeing that this is going to happen right now. That's God's will, God's will is basically just a collective will. It's just what's happening. But, and I'm not inviting any comments on that, but if you want to, we can talk about it. But I think it works pretty well considering the way things are, Have you ever seen this God's will? I mean, has the sky ever opened up and, struck down and said, no, you can't do that because I don't want you to do that? No, you haven't. But you have seen resistance and pushback from the community around you. So, and you have to decide what to do with that because, again, we still all have free will. We still all get to decide. So if we get to decide, then I'm encouraging everyone to stop for a minute today and as an exercise, just pay attention. Don't do anything different. Just pay attention. Pay attention to how many times someone else makes a comment about something you're doing or who you are or how you look or how you present. And pay even more close attention to how many times you feel the need to correct someone or something. And ask yourself if your correction is for you or for them. If your comment is to better what they're doing truly and honestly, or to just sound in on what they're doing, to just be participating in what they're doing in some way, and that's the only way you could see. I'm not going to go too deeply into criticism today, further than that, because I think that's also a heady subject. And I think I gave you more than enough with contempt yesterday. So hopefully that is something to think about, something to chew on. Again, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse of doomed relationship in general, I think. I know John Gottman meant it for marriage, but I honestly think it applies all across the board. Stonewalling, contempt, criticism. The last but not least, I'll bring to you tomorrow, it's going to be defensiveness. Look at that. Did you notice the theme? I'm always going to bring it back to self, okay? Because honestly, with free will, we really need to remember we cannot control someone else. But my goodness, we do have 100% control over ourselves and our mind, our body, our feelings, our thoughts. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks, everybody. This was Maria coming to you from the bedroom.